Beautiful cups. Oh my god, they're so... You have an amazing collection of cups. So cool. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, this is super shot. Everybody's cups right
Yes.
here. Hi,
Hi,
Giacomo.
Giacomo.
Where's your
Welcome.
cup?
Welcome to the cheers moment. Eve is coming too.
Wow. Well, cheers with the beautiful cups, and thanks for joining.
Eve is in San Francisco. Okay.
My children did it. I have no idea what they've done. Good morning, everyone.
Hi. Great. Well, maybe let's start our sharing for the day. Cheers, everyone. Welcome. And yeah. And today's topic, yes, beautiful cup. I love it. Today's topic is the rich, beautiful, picturesque entourage that we carry in ourselves at every moment of our existence. And
yeah, we're quite happy that we finally put it in one place, and to be able to give an overall picture of what is what and what is where. It's literally like a little when you have a body, a physical body, and a pain in a physical body, where there's a medical encyclopedia that explains what that pain might mean and where's the most efficient place to start healing the symptom that you have. Well, we have come up with a sort of little map the same way. When you have a spiritual pain or a process to be resolved, where to look for that resolution, and where is the best place to do it, like in which method or modality it's the most efficient to do it. So we finally put it together, and we'll share you. We don't have enough time to draw it all because it's pretty complex, but we'll give you the big lines, and you'll see the image. It's very, very busy image because there are a lot of things on it.
yeah, and from the get-go, we want to kind of ask you not to be too scared or depressed, and when you see how many, what's the richness of inner things that we can carry inside, but it doesn't mean we all have it all, yeah.
Or all active at all times.
Yes. But this is almost like a little encyclopedia of what we have found through working with people. So.
And also, the point of the sharing is to answer maybe questions that you have around. There are so many modalities of healing, and they all seem to work somehow to some extent, but we don't really know what it really changes permanently in our reality. So this is something that we can now explain with visuals and say, if you do this kind of healing, where and what it will change in your reality, or how fast will be the permanent shift.
So maybe we start with a question, yeah?
Yeah. So, maybe you have a question about what works, what doesn't, from healing modalities, or how to even say that, or what is a destiny and what is the changeable, any question that you have about the spiritual process. Well, this is the moment to put it out, and we might be able to show you where your, let's say, loop is stuck. Where could you untie it the most efficiently? Or, what about the ancestor wounds? Shall you go and treat that? Like whatever unanswered question you might have about your spiritual process, we can map it quite precisely and say where it's coming from and how efficient it might be. I don't know if it's clear at all, but
No, it's not clear. But I guess the question that we want to ask you to begin with is: are you aware of any other, almost like other separate personality that you have inside that you are constantly kind of trying to fight with for the right of having the upper hand? So who from the inside is trying to pull you back? Have you noticed that there is another pull other than your own that is trying to take you to another direction than where you want to go?
So it's about the inner saboteurs. Like, you're full of, we have given you your talents, your best potential expression, you are pure love and light, here to do a big mission on earth. But where is it? Where is it? Like, we were all expecting to embody our best selves, and it's somehow not happening. So why is it not happening? Because of that little inner ecosystem that are dutifully working against us being our best selves. So we are now looking at that ecosystem of saboteurs, inner saboteurs, and how to best actually
weed them out.
work through them.
Yeah.
Or either bypass or weed them out.
So who's aware of an inner saboteur? One or maybe few of them. Lisa. Yes.
Okay, Lisa,
And then
Anna,
Uh-huh.
Miriam.
Yes, Lisa.
When you say an inner saboteur, I think that's being very kind. I think that there are there are many.
Well, you'll see the
You
map,
will
Lisa.
I can remember, I don't know if you remember, Evia, but going to you and your wonderful penduluming skills. And I thought, what should we have, Evia, pendulum? And I thought it would be really nice to approach the saboteurs as the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah, I remember that. That was so cool.
So it's like, where's my greed? It's in your little toe and it's like 10%. Where's my laziness? It's sitting here and it's like 90%. Or, it was, I thought it was a very interesting to, okay, so is it somewhere in the body that, these saboteurs actually manifest? And it is, at any given point, it's like, laziness, or I've just polished off a block of chocolate. That's an inner saboteur because I'm just about to go to bed, really.
You're gonna sleep while they're gonna have a party.
Delicious caramel chocolate, but it's like, that's not treating my body as a temple, that's sabotaging my beautiful temple. So it's I don't know if I battle with them or they're just all lugged in my backpack, or so but for me really it's I would say the biggest thing that I am challenged by is laziness and my perception of my own laziness, and where breaking down where that comes from, this Protestant work ethic, and am I lazy, so breaking out of the system and being surrounded by so many, everyone that's just busy, and I was saying to someone today, I just want to be able to, all these people, I've been out walking for kilometers the last 2 days and I'm so stuffed, like oh my God, my body is in so much pain, and I'll be walking and it's like, just turn around and go back, you've had enough, and then some sprightly German will walk past me and it's like, oh, where are you going? And they're like, to the end, and it's like, oh my God, am I just being lazy? What's going on with me? I'd just rather lie on my yoga mat and do nothing. So, anyway, that's enough for me. Maybe another inner saboteur is talking lots.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. But while you were talking, Evia had made a little measure where your laziness may be at. Held, do you have?
Yeah.
We will tell you.
Yeah. So I have a note. I'll tell you. Well, thank you. Yeah, that's a beautiful example of inner saboteur. You know, those beautiful ideas that we have of doing yoga, hiking the mountains, and everything, and we end up not doing it, you know, for a year. We know all about it. So, Lisa, you're not alone.
Yeah. Who wanted to share? I think. Who's next?
Anna?
Anna, then. Your inner saboteur.
Well, I completely understand what Lisa was talking about because it's often the same thing with me, and but I'm even, am I compromising with that inner saboteur, or what's going on? Because I'm always asking myself, is it after 16 years of really raising up my child alone, waking up nights and mornings and doing everything on my own, and then I think, do I finally have a right to relax and not to be busy and wake up early and from the morning till the evening, do something and be really, productive. And I feel it's now my right to, take my time for everything. Finally, she's big. I can finally relax. Or is it really laziness, or something in between? And I also feel that about eating, pretty much as Lisa, and I feel that it's, it's getting stronger and stronger, approaching the night, and especially in the evening. I get on through the day, and okay, I'm on a vegan food and everything's good, and then I'm home, and then it strikes, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and I know that's exactly the time that I shouldn't eat, and I also have like a little soup and little something that would be a perfect dinner, but rarely I can finish my day with that. I must attack, this and that, and that's horrible because I really have to lose weight, and I don't need it. I'm not hungry. That's something. That's something when I'm getting closer to going to bed. Worst time for eating, and I'm fighting with this for years and years, The only ways to go out of this house and walk and do something else, and, I sometimes even think of really sticking something on my mouth,
Like a duct tape.
Yeah, it's very, very. Thank you for that sharing. You see, for now, you call both of those drives I. So it's like, I know I shouldn't eat, but I
cannot help it.
So that's the sure sign that there is another person inside who is trying to make you do something outside of what really you believe and want. So we see that it's completely separate drive from yourself. So it's best not to call it I. It's good to recognize where it's coming from and to say, he or she's coming and she wants to eat. And then you at least know it's another person inside that wants to do that. And the enemy is clear.
Another point that I think everybody may recognize, and that's, I know what is now really what I should do, what is the most important, what is a really great thing to do, what is my mission that I should do in my studio, and I would really love to do that every day for hours. But it seems like it's so hard to get to that point,
Exactly.
There's always something else to do that is more urgent, not more important, but more urgent. I have to make lunch, I have to, some calls, some people, some shopping, some groceries, and it seems that the days pass before I'm able to really go to the studio and, switch off disturbances and do what I want to do. And that is I guess, which wants time.
Good.
Yeah, that is very common. That what is really the most beneficial for us goes on the bottom of the list, and everything the insignificant or unhealthy things somehow, get attention first.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
that's an important point. I saw where it's happening for you, so we'll address it.
mm-hmm.
Hmm. It's on the map.
Yeah.
Good, thanks.
I think who is next?
Thanks.
So we have Tai, Hannah, and Miriam. So, okay, Miriam, go first, then Tai, then Hannah, okay?
Okay, thank you. Well, actually, the last half year, I'm so much in peace that I don't have a lot of the inner saboteurs or very active. And the ones, and I'm wondering about that. Like I mentioned it once, that I can fall asleep right away, right? When I'm reading something that's very inspirational, all of a sudden I can fall asleep. These days, sometimes in the morning at 11, all of a sudden I just want to lay down and sleep. But I say to myself, this is just wonderful, and my body is adjusting to other frequencies. So I don't know if I'm kidding myself or that, but actually I'm really loving it.
Mm-hmm.
And the saboteur that I have at the moment is the one that is keeping me away from feeling love and compassion. And that's the saboteur when I'm in Bali and I, see people struggling, or I hear them, they ask me for money or whatever. And that my inner voice is saying, yeah, that's what comes from all the greediness, or that's what you get now in the world situation. So my inner saboteur is very as I would say, is the active one that keeps me away from having my heart open for loving compassion towards the situation, instead of saying, that's, I told you, this is what would happen, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the present one at the moment, and the one that I allow myself to just fall asleep in the middle of the day. Actually, I'm enjoying that, and I'm reading a lot, and I feel very inspired. And maybe it's my age. I don't know that I don't facilitate already for maybe 3-4 months, and I don't feel any urge to that. So I'm for the rest, I'm very really in peace, and yeah. So it's the judgmental saboteur that is.
Yes,
that I know
we
very well.
found it.
Yes.
It's also on the
Okay.
map.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing this. One more recognizable statement is "I told you." If you hear "I told you," that's somebody who is telling you, "Oh, I have been
From
persuaded
behind.
you about this all these years, and now you see." So we
I
know that.
told the world.
Yes. So that's one of these phrases that we can recognize that somebody else is speaking.
Uwe, hi.
Welcome. Uwe.
Hi, so your inner saboteur didn't manage to stop you from joining, right? Because what the inner saboteurs do usually, they also prevent us from attending something that's threatening their status quo. So sometimes when there's a huge resistance to things, it might be two things: that the thing is really not for you, or that it's so much for you that you would be transformed by it. So that's the nature of our dark twin. We'll speak about that later.
Who is next?
Next is Tai,
Tai?
and then Hannah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start because I struggle so much with self-sabotage that actually I was just more aware of it the beginning of this year, and I even started therapy, but I realized that I was not going anywhere, like just months and months and nothing, and then I changed, but I still feel like it's not. I really feel like I should get to the root of it, but I can't really find out. And I always I wish it was just like related to food and yoga, but it was my entire life. It is like a very nice project at university, and the teacher offers me, I'm not looking for it. And the teacher, my favorite teacher, hey, there's this project, do you want it? And I just mess up everything. I'll just get so scared and so afraid that I couldn't even go to the meetings because I had kind of a diarrhea of being so nervous of it. So, and like many situations in my life, even like projects that, hey, hi, we want you here, and blah, 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 and I think I'm not good enough. So dealing with this feeling of not being good enough for things and the perfectionism. And of course, it involves the procrastination. Oh, I'm going to do it later because it's not good enough yet and I'm not prepared. So I struggle with it a lot. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to solve this with therapy, but it's not, as I said, not really going
Yeah.
anywhere so far. But yeah, at least now I'm a bit more aware. I could tell many examples, but I can consider myself kind of a functional saboteur, because I can still do few things. But I'm really aware that I could do so much more without these voices telling, "Hey, you're not good enough. What are you saying? It's like you're not entitled of saying such things. Who are you to say something like that?" So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, well,
Mm.
I think other people must want to share as well. So
No, that's good.
Yeah.
Tai, great that you're sharing because as you're sharing, we are measuring here to see where they stand. Therapy is the slowest way to deal with these things because it's really, like going on foot through the desert rather than having a vehicle that can kind of get you there faster.
Yeah.
And
And this is exactly the point also of our sharing, to highlight the therapies that will not make a difference because they are addressing the place where saboteur is not there. so so that it just takes time and makes everything much longer. Yeah, so we saw where your little interferences are sitting, and I'll tell you all about it.
and we'll talk about ways to actually work with them that are more efficient than going barefoot through the desert.
Okay, so Hannah.
Hannah and Anne has a hand up after that.
Okay, where to start? I think I have a flower bouquet of saboteurs. So one thing that happened was like I was going through this theta healing journey, assisting the courses, so 4 weeks of that, and I brought up a lot of beautiful things and like transmuted beautifully. But then like my real question is like, as you said, like when it is to wait for divine timing for things to shift, or are things always ready? Because it's always just now. So it's probably an illusion to think like we're not ready yet. And yet things happen and unfold and are seen like one after another in their own timing. So yeah, to be more specific, like for example, I was working also a lot on like seeing my path and my gifts and what I want to do and that it all has meaning. Because this year, like with the death of my father, was put more into nothing makes really sense. But still, it feels like my saboteur is the one, I don't know which practical steps to take. The one who's kind of blocking to see the opportunities and really it's like one that's spraying fog, so I
Spraying
can't
fog,
see,
yes.
so I can't do.
That's a function.
So that's really how it feels. Like I'm in this self-righteous place of, well, there is nothing I can do. It would be pushing and forcing and going against divine timing and da 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 da. So actually, it's a nice one, but you get tired of it after some months.
They all, yes, great.
Yeah.
They all,
Spraying fog is really a
And I have
tool.
a few others. Or it's like I'm being offered for the last few weeks opportunities to go to learn dieting or free diving, or people who would go with me into the ocean to explain me how to surf. And I just have this saboteur of like, oh, I'm just too afraid of the ocean. I'll just panic, and I don't even try. But I keep being presented like on the silver plate opportunities, and there's no way I'm even considering. Like it's just a definite inner that you can confuse it with just an inner knowing that's not for me. But actually, I know there's another I that has a desire for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, love too. It's like I'm recently I'm not being myself. Finally, I'm interested in someone, and another person is showing up, and I'm not myself, really. It's the funniest thing. So yeah, I have no clue, but maybe it helps if I call that person someone else. But it's not me who's hanging out with that person, and
Mm-hmm.
so
We'll,
that was the most in
Yeah.
my face.
we will tell you who that is inside of you.
Yeah,
Yes.
so again, those opportunities that are on silver platter, and for some reason, we are incapable of acting upon them. So it's clearly not your own will there. Yeah, there's someone grabbing your hand and keeping you behind.
However, there are always smart words that seem to justify not doing it. Because you have this very logical explanation, I'm afraid of the ocean.
Comma, because
Yeah.
I'm afraid of ocean.
So you will see how the mind actually is manipulated by them to say the smart things that, seem right, but actually serve to slalom around our triggers so that they never get weeded out. So thank you for sharing. We mapped and we will tell you where they sit for you.
And Anne,
Anne,
you know a lot about Inner Saboteurs, right?
Well, yes, my beautiful friends. Well, the, one of the biggest ones, I think, is the self-doubt. And I really would love to see where it comes from. Because and everything feels like nothing is opening for me to share it more wider. It's just something, and when the self-doubt comes in, then I go to the loop, it feels that way. Yeah, I would say it's self-doubt, but yeah. I don't see the opportunities like Hanna was saying, or something was there. Yeah.
Yeah. We see
Yes.
where it sits. Okay, self-doubt. And Claudia.
Claudia.
Hi everyone. It's so
Hi.
good to see you all. Hi. I just I feel a bit embarrassed, but it's truly about ignorance is bliss. So knowledge and the responsibility of knowledge. So every time I want to know more, or I, dive into books or start doing something, I get overwhelmed with this idea. There's always more, and I'll never know more, and I'll never know everything. So I just get overwhelmed and said, I just don't want to know. And I dive into this, prefer to be into this idea of not ignorance, but it's just to let happen whatever happens, but not knowing enough. Like it's better than, and it's not serving me, and it's almost painful, and it's automatic. I grab a book, and it's just weighs on me, and then I fall asleep, or I put it away. I read it, God knows when, and if I need to know anything about where I am, a road, or anything, I just keep it to the minimum, and it's not serving me, and I know I have to fight it, but it's just the comfort of just not knowing. Somebody else will know. I'll find a way, and I get into this vicious cycle. It's insane. It's almost embarrassing, but it's true. I don't know. That's for me.
Yeah. Well, it's very important. I know a lot about this feeling that you are scared of not knowing everything. It's awful. It's actually awful feeling. I've had it for years. This desperate feeling that I will never know enough. I'll never know everything, and that I'll never have enough time to read all the books I want to read. And then I better don't do anything because and it's like it gets stuck in the middle. And yeah. Yeah, exactly. So Lisa, thank you for keeping the list up. Yeah, keep the list, and then maybe copy and share it on in the group, because it's actually it's a live catalog exactly of
It
things.
is.
Of Inner Saboteurs, yeah.
It's just this this has defined my life so deeply that it's funny you bring it up, but it is that like really my evil twin. It's my evil twin. You don't
Yeah.
need to know. Stay
Exactly.
away from the info. It's, somebody else will, there's so much out there. Why get into it? It's kind of like, yeah, this naughty friend in high school that you don't have to study. It's better to cheat. Who cares? I don't want it anymore, but it's still there.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll talk about that. Whose voice is that? We all recognize it because it comes in different forms, but we all recognize that nagging, a nagging party pooper. Actually, when it really gets good, it starts telling you why not. So we know, and we'll tell you how it finds a way to our ears. Yeah.
Yeah. How
Through what
it's-
exactly?
Yes. What's the manipulation
Using our weak
technique?
points.
Yes.
Wow, fantastic. Oh, Topaz has
Topaz has a sharing as well. Yes. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, so I had right now a big battle with my inner saboteur who every time doesn't allow me to share anything. The teas and everything, and I'm about to share. No, you don't have anything to say. Everybody already knows that. It's not interesting. Blah blah blah. Whatever. Like, just shut up. Oh no, they didn't see you. It goes full on like this. And now it was like, yeah, it's too late. Already everybody shared. Then it doesn't bother to even raise the hand. So it's like that. And this is, my very good evil friend. I hope finally I will get off it.
Great. Great that you caught it and actually had courage to go.
Direct
Because
line.
everybody already spoke. We don't have enough time. So
Exactly,
fantastic.
that's what he says.
Beautiful.
Wow, now your saboteur is kind of, whoa, what just happened?
Didn't
Oh la la.
didn't expect
My
to be
saboteur
exposed like that.
crumbling now.
Yes.
You're gonna get it.
So you have a body sensation, right?
Of course.
Uh-huh.
It's like I think my heart gonna just jump out now.
Oh, wow.
Nice. Beautiful.
Yeah, and then when you share about the know everything, that's also the part of it. It's like I feel I don't know everything. If someone gonna ask the question and I don't have a full exact answer, I better don't speak.
Lisa and Anna are laughing. They're recognizing it.
Yeah.
I see from their faces. Good. And
Oh yeah,
Miriam.
busted.
Busted.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Wow. Well, you see, amazing that, we're living with the same set of saboteurs and thinking that we're the only ones. And then we find out that everyone is having the same. Beautiful. Okay, Eva, what's your friend?
My friend comes in the form of my dependence. Like this, all I want to do is play. All day I want to play. But of course I have to, what feels like work is, I've got to tend to a husband and washing and cooking and children. And, there's all these obstacles stopping me from, sitting in meditation all day long, or playing with my oracle cards or my crystals, or watching, this episode again 5 times, like all these things that I just, because I want to learn and I want to absorb it all, and pretty much what everyone has just talked about. And it's all these humans that I have, but I didn't go and run off and live in a mountain, but I don't think I'd be happy doing that either, to be honest. So, yeah, it's that kind of feeling.
Yeah, great.
Exactly. So I saw where it's sitting for you, so I'll address it. It's a good one. Well, in psychological terms, we're calling it like escapism. When we are a kid inside and we have adult responsibilities. All we want to do is to play, and then suddenly, because we have a big body, we have to take care of the world and life and the daily business, and it's kind of scary. So that saboteur is actually in this case manifesting as well, you don't have, well, try not to, later, and try to find its way through. But of course, responsibility catches up and will tell you where it sits.
Yeah.
Sylvia,
Sylvia,
do you have any saboteurs, Sylvia?
We thought you had none.
I do. Actually, I could easily relate everybody. But I feel that for me, the biggest one was used to be that I am so responsible. So I'm almost like opposite of Eve, that I know that I have to take care of things. So therefore, I don't have time to play. I mean, and there was a time when I was even upset when someone dared to not to be serious, or I mean, some of you who know Jave, like Jave, my partner's inner child is quite active. So being with someone who can just, play all day, for me, like being misresponsible is like, yeah, I've been working on it, but I'm also remembering that on one of our teas, when it was about like what is one of my greatest gifts, and it came out that my voice, and I thought that, well, I'm not doing anything with it because I need to do readings and I need to hear humanity. And it's like, and as much as I love it, I do love it and it's beautiful, but I always feel that I'm doing it because I'm feeling this responsibility. So for me, responsibility was something in myself, but I could relate to many.
Yeah.
Like the other one is like laziness or prolonging things. Like I have my to-do list, but even if I'm writing these down and being responsible, knowing that I will check the list somehow, maybe tomorrow, postponing things that I know that would be so good, like speaking Spanish fluently, and opportunities came, or playing on a string instrument, and I received the string instrument as a gift, and it's just hanging at the wall. I did a couple
like
of
that.
Yeah, it's over there. It's a little you, and it's just like, whoa. Yeah, so the postponing, why not?
Yeah, we know this one is...
Yeah, we too have string instruments hanging on the wall.
String and wind instruments hanging. And they look so beautiful as decoration.
Yes.
But we do find time for irrelevant things, yeah?
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, so it's it's amazing. It's amazing the power of maybe tomorrow. This is the only thing that actually we can tell ourselves to not feel guilty or start another self-blaming loop. Maybe tomorrow, and then you will look back. Okay, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months.
Tomorrow stays tomorrow. It never becomes today.
Yeah, and this is actually where it sits, because all we have is now, right? And we perfectly know that all we have is now. It's not a foreign knowledge. But what is this strength? What is this force stronger than our will that hits us out of our beautiful plans in the moment of now? It must be really something impressively strong to get us out of what's really the best, out of our expressing talents, learning beautiful things, acting upon our wildest dreams. So what is it? What is it? So, Uwe, so wanna join the party?
Absolutely, yeah. I have bought a few saboteurs, I guess. But hello, everybody.
Hey.
One of the things I wonder is I'm not sure whether I can identify one saboteur specifically, but one of the things I find really disturbing is like the mind game. Sometimes, like it's just spinning in my head and, thinking what other people think or something like this, sometimes. And this is one of the parts. And the other thing is that the mind is so busy, I don't know, it's constantly things popping up. And I wonder how that relates to saboteurs.
Yeah, it does.
Definitely. It's amazing how many techniques the saboteur has. You will see how it snaps whichever technique is available to him. For example, running your mind wild. This is what it's going to use. So, yeah.
Well, then let's dive
Dive
right
in.
in and see where they are.
Amazing, actually, to have so much material. Thank you guys for sharing.
So let's look at the picture. So don't be afraid that it's a little bit complex, but we'll explain you right on the picture. Yeah. I hope you will be able to decipher. We haven't put it in any fancy format. It's our inspiration.
I'll just
hand drawn
to this camera. Yeah. And put us in this corner here. Okay. So
do you see it well?
I will zoom in also so that you see it better, but this is, well, this is the person. Yeah, this is you.
The vessel, I would say, the vessel for your live stream to go through. Yeah.
And so maybe you can explain. Part of it comes with birth. So some of these aspects, we have a birth set, what we came with into this world, and another part we acquire as we go through life. Yeah.
So I'll give a little difference between those birth sets and the ones we acquire later. When a person comes into incarnation, there's a defined life task that needs to be worked through. Let's say you got 80 years, and this is the problem, maybe one loop or one really strong emotion that you need to work through. And the parents and the setting and everything is encouraging the triggering of that problem so that you actually can see it. And because it becomes unbearable, you work it through. Or you are looking for solutions. So in a way, our triggering parents, and why it's such a major problem for everyone, that we don't seem to have the right parents, because they are dutifully setting the scene for your life's task, whatever your soul has chosen to do. So in order to better focus on that task, you're born on a specific date. So your astrological aspects are actually holding the wound and the gift of what you have come here to do.
Here, I'm going to zoom here so that you see. The astrological aspects are one of these. So these are the planets which give you the gifts and talents that will help you overcome whatever and work with whatever you encounter in life. So this is this set of talents here. This is what you get as the parts of the day where you were born.
So that you come perfectly equipped for a certain task and a certain set of problems. So the gold will be revealed once you have worked through the challenge, and it always comes like that. So when we tell you that you can be a beautiful singer, that you can save the world, that you can spread the light, that you can transform the society, well, the prerequisite for that to be available to you is working through these limiting emotions and conditions that don't allow you to exactly do that. Yeah.
So if we say, okay, so you have
That's
gotten...
the karma.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so we wrote, the karma is a set of patterns to work through during your 80 years. The sooner
it's
you
like-
work through them...
Like a homework you got
Yeah.
to work with in this incarnation.
The karma provides you a necessary training, so you're better able to express your gifts. It gives you endurance, you know, a set of stable kind of energy, because what you have transmuted in this lifetime becomes a very solid base. So on that base, you can express the gift. Many people don't even come to that gift, and they die without even having worked through their karma, and that is postponed to the next lifetime and next lifetime. So these are the sets of unfinished homework from the previous class, so to say, yeah, that you know, didn't disappear with the death, but just skipped on to a different setting where maybe the conditions are tighter, so you make sure that you remind yourself or what you have to transmute. So plus the soul contracts with people who are here to help you, people who will give you the information,
Is this
reveal what you
envelope
need
here?
to do. So you come also with this package of soul contracts of people who have volunteered to trigger you, especially partners, you know, and very close people or children, someone you can't really readily escape from. They have had a contract to trigger you in specific matter so that you can better heal from it.
To understand why triggering, this is really the way to feel firsthand where the blockage is, and then you are compelled to do it. This is not we say, oh, we'll do it later. It's so triggering that we do it now.
Yeah, you can't do it later because your suffering is really intense and now.
Yeah.
And the next set is these two people that we call parents with their wounds. So everything gets magnetized in a perfect combination so that they also can work through the same kind of patterns. Yeah. If whatever they trigger in you has a resonance in them. So if you are the one to solve the pattern, they will be liberated from it. If they, which rarely happens, solve the problem, you're liberated from the pattern. So usually it works, maybe the younger one is the one to liberate the whole lineage instead of... But if a parent becomes conscious, for example me, when I liberate a pattern in myself, I see my daughters immediately from the next day responding already different, and something changes in their lives immediately. So whoever out of that genetic tribe overcomes the pattern, liberates that pattern in everyone below and above. Yeah?
So you see, for example, how we drew here with mother came the whole feminine ancestral line. So the whole back tree of the ancestors gets healed if we heal this pattern. Here is the male, and then for men there is a male ancestral lineage that is connected to the father. So here they are, mother and father, inner mother and father, and how we drew them here. Before we solve this, we are almost blocked to go higher to actually get our talents activated. So we have to first deal with what's lower on the graph until we are able to get to the higher part of the graph. And of course, when we finish with karma, this is where we can get to the higher self, and then we are connected to the actual divine source. But these are the tasks we have to do before.
Yeah, so if we decipher actually the message of our parents, there's a lot of information about our core tasks to accomplish in this lifetime, because they are the ones who have by all means tried to highlight what we need to see. So that's a very reliable source of of our wounds and triggers.
And they're certainly not there by coincidence. Yeah, we have chosen each other for a particular reason.
And another pattern. So when we come into this incarnation, we come with something that has very complicated origin, which we call the dark twin. It's the entropic part of ourselves, and well, it comes from historical times that are beyond our comprehension. But in a way, let's say if in a battle with God and devil, with creation and the non-existence, the creation part lost, then the devil say, okay, I cannot kill all the humans, but what I can do is to put this little seed of evil in every one of them, so they will kill each other, or they will eventually kill themselves, and the human race will be extinguished by their own kind of laziness and evil side.
Complacence. So the way that we draw it here is, you see like a shadow behind, so it's copy of ourselves, but the negative copy. That's what we call dark twin. So this dark twin is pretty much the force in ourselves that goes against evolution, anti-evolutionary force. And it's a master puppeteer. It's a master puppeteer that puppets, that moves all of these little puppets here, which are your favorite fears and your favorite inner personalities. It's actually going to use anything of this inner ecosystem to work against you. So whatever we have weeded out, it's one less puppet on in its tool set. The more that we have, the more it can manipulate. So sometimes there are several puppets, for example, that are connected to your fear of not being enough. So we cannot really weed it only from one side. We have to weed it from another side as well, until we have weeded all of the puppets out, and then we have a reunion, a meeting with the dark twin himself, and that's what we call dark night of the soul. At that point we are really ready to face it and to go through that dark night of the soul, and then to get rid of it once and for all.
So that dark twin is not something, it's not the dark side of ourselves. It's not that. Dark side of ourselves is easy, yeah? You merge, you accept, you forgive, and all that. But this one, you cannot, it's not an organic part of human being. It's something that we need to overcome by a huge spiritual and inner commitment to ourselves and commitment to life. Because what it wants no life.
Yeah.
It wants no creation.
It wants status quo.
No thing,
Yeah.
no body, no, nothingness, actually.
So explanation is a little bit like this, that by creation, when creation started, what was disturbed, what are you looking for?
No, there you go.
What was disturbed was non-creation. So it was complete stillness, and then something started moving. Well, of course, the forces that didn't want anything to move got offended, so they want to get back to the state of nothing moving. And this is this anti-revolutionary force. They want the universe to go back to the state of complete non-moving. So that dark twin is a soldier of the non-moving army, so to speak.
Yeah, aka entropy.
Yeah.
Entropy. So this is what you all mentioned, all as one. You mentioned this maybe tomorrow. So this is the direct expression of this entropy, which does not want things to evolve or to be created or to be moving. So it's the non-moving part. And unfortunately, before we reach our kind of connection with higher self, this part has much more power over our decisions and everything. And it uses everything there is in our ecosystem to convince us for this not doing immediately what you think and when you think. Yeah, it's holding our willpower in a very tight grip.
Yeah.
So that dark twin speaks through many faces. It speaks through parents. It speaks through our, fears, past life aspects, alter egos, everything there is. And what we also get at birth. So you say there's a little
Yeah, go ahead.
this little frame around, those are the birth things.
So this square here, this square from here, I hope you see my pointer, to here, and to here. This is the square of the birth set. Here we wrote the birth set. So you get these aspects and these guys here as well.
Yeah, so unresolved past life aspects, although we do understand that there's no such thing as past life, but for convenience of understanding, we will stick to the unresolved past life aspects.
These are the guys on the left.
Yeah, which are your unconsciously lived lives. For example, you were a warrior, you were very passionate about your cause, and you got killed or betrayed in the most horrible ways, and you didn't, of course, have a therapy or time to forgive, forget, and understand. So those aspects that had very strong personalities and very strong wounds from those lifetimes and died suddenly with unexpressed and unresolved situation actually flip to the next lifetime to be resolved and are sitting in the background and creating the situations where they could be seen and heard, and eventually only looking for a resolution. That's it. But they create some, for example, unresolved warrior past life aspect will always create a little bit tense situations in this lifetime and have a fiery reaction and fiery response to things, which is not necessarily matching the nature of the actual person. But it comes out in bursts. It comes out of nowhere and it goes back to nowhere. And you just wonder, like, what happened? Like, who was that? Why did I even say that? So past life aspects, they are different from your main kind of character that you're playing right now.
So it could be a warrior, it could be a burnt at stake witch. So it's all a set of traumatic experiences that you took part in one of your past lives, but they are part of the database of suffering of humanity. So whatever had happened to the humanity before, you have personally experienced some of those things. It could be a widow, that had a...
Yeah, widow abandoned at the wedding day, those archetypes that actually recreate that that story in this lifetime, so they can be released or burnt at stake. No, I will never do any spiritual work again. I will never share my gifts because it's dangerous. We die from being kind of helping people can be dangerous. We can die. So those past life aspects hold this live situation where they haven't been, that energy is still trapped in that in that form. So we're here to kind of acknowledge them and release. But they are just a very colorful parallel life experiences. They are not, that's why we say that past life regressions don't really work, because they erase the file. They don't change fundamentally the way you think or live. They just make this one aspect a little easier. So they're like files as opposed to...
So on the other side, you see, we have what we call alter egos. So alter egos they belong to you, and they are yourself expressed through one of unresolved
accumulation
kind
of
fears.
emotions.
Accumulation of emotions that are alive in you. For example, preponderance towards anger, or betrayal, or abandonment, or helplessness, or poverty, and. Yes. So we call these folders because in those folders come those files of previous lives. So if you, instead of weeding each one of the past life unresolved aspects, we can work on the entire folder.
There could be hundreds, There could be hundreds of unhappy lifetimes, so it just takes too much time.
Yeah. An entire folder of the accumulated lower emotions that keep us perpetuating the situations where there's anger or where there's fear.
So alter egos are placeholders for one type of emotion. So anything that is in that emotion, it's like a drawer. So anytime you experience anger, for whatever reason, from whoever provoked it, goes into that drawer labeled anger. So the more emotions you have put in a certain drawer, the bigger and the stronger is the influence of that alter ego. It's really another part of you. You know, when you, for example, okay, I don't know why we're talking about anger all the time, but let's take it because everybody has experienced it at some point. So if you have an alter ego that holds anger, and it's been fueled by the past life aspect of an angry warrior, plus your astrological sign, which is Aries, plus your Mars being in some conflicting situation, plus, who knows whatever childhood wounds you have had. So it's an unescapable emotion, and your alter ego grows really strong. That means that when you encounter a situation that you don't know how to deal with, you don't even have the 1 second to think about it. You are propelled in that alter ego that acts impulsively and deals with things with a sword, straight away, without. And then when it has expressed itself, you are left to deal with the consequences, to apologize, to kind of wipe off the blood from the walls, you know, and to rearrange the destroyed house, and you're wondering, like, what just happened? I'm not like this normally. I was taken by the storm, So this taken by the storm is a very strong alter ego that inhabits you for that given moment and expresses its emotion and then goes, right?
It's interesting to point out that these alter egos are actually connected to emotions. They work through your emotions, whereas this frame here around the head is the frame of your mind, and this is where the beliefs are. And you see this infinity sign that we drew here is that these emotional alter egos actually work in conjunction with your beliefs. So they propel each other into functioning. So for example, this alter ego of anger would probably propel one of your beliefs that
I'm not a weakling, I'm not a weak man, or I'm it's this
I'm
hidden...
not a coward, I'm going to act on that. So it goes,
I'm a man, not a mouse.
Exactly.
I'll just repeat the widow thing, So if the widow is contributing to feel the abandonment holding alter ego, joining in with a mother who didn't take care enough, joining with you being Pisces or being a Cancer. So it all makes a very strong cocktail of that particular emotion. So whenever you will be in relationship, you will already expect, like the dark twin will say, you'll see. It's a matter of time. He will abandon you. He will leave you for someone else. And this horrible whispering in your ear, that actually feels very true, and you start looking for the signs, and you kind of start seeing the signs, and you start believing and getting ready, and you strengthen your heart not to be abandoned again, because your life proves that yes, A plus B, and then you have this loop going between the abandonment alter ego that holds emotions and beliefs. I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, which fuels again, flares more emotions of abandonment, and which fortifies the belief of not being good enough and lovable. And so we go, and so we go on, and that's only our birth set.
And literally the good way to think about it is that these paths we drew here, together with these beliefs, are manipulated by the dark twin that is playing with several of them at the same time. And they become more believable the more the puppeteer set is active in us. So as we cut each one of them out, it becomes less and less. It doesn't have what to grip and what to play this fake play for us through.
So one very universal combination that you also mentioned is, for example, unresolved past life aspect of burnt at stake or being punished for your knowledge, going together hand in hand with alter ego that holds helplessness, what we mentioned, I will never know enough, which goes hand in hand with belief of I'm not good enough, I'll never know everything, everybody is better than me and knows more. And Dark Twin is pushing on any of those buttons to prove why not to do the thing right now. Yeah. And this is paralyzing actually the solar plexus, and you really indeed out of helplessness do not act on your best possibilities, because you have already strong background of a pattern holding you in this grip. You can just witness yourself postponing again, and it's literally like you have your hands tied in the back and you're witnessing yourself postponing things in spite of all logics, in spite of any reasons. You see yourself quietly allowing the best opportunity slide by without acting upon it. Because the energy is really, it's about the energy. There's more energy in the sabotaging side than on your willpower and authentic pure side. So what we're looking to do is to reverse the proportion of energy. If an alter ego holds a lot of energy, you cannot escape its grip. This abandonment will kick in anytime that situation becomes somewhat similar of being excluded or someone said something, and you can't help, it's not logic, you can't help but feel helpless and abandoned, that again you are not up to somebody's expectations, because there's just too much energy in that. Yeah. Well,
so that's the birth set.
That's what we come with. But actually, when you think about it, it's not much, because every person will have, let's say, 3 very strong alter egos and couple of strong past life personalities. So if you understand and identify your top 3 and demagnetize, desynergize that what they hold, already your life has a different quality. So it seems like a lot, but if you pick up those main ones and work on them consciously, it's pretty easy. So the point is to know where to look for it.
So then we had the set of talents, we have the parents with ancestral wounds, we had unresolved past aspects, and then we had the alter egos so far. So this is the birth set with which we came. Some of the beliefs came from dealing with these throughout the life. So now we are going to the ones that we have all gotten during the life itself. So this is like a real-time disturbance. You know, if a person is kind of spotted that there is a good chance that it could make a difference, then there is a real-time disturbance that are put in place to slow them down or to kind of keep them out from kind of making big waves.
Yeah, we have to be lucid and without being too alarming. There are forces, those same anti-evolution forces that don't want humans to evolve, that are also controlling this evolution to be, better, slower than faster. So what else you can have as interferences for not doing things and straying you away is lost souls. So lost souls, we spoke about the ghosts and the common ghost, people who haven't made it to light. They are disembodied beings that are looking for a home and energy supply, and vulnerable people or anybody in a vulnerable moment of their lives in a particular circumstances can be possessed by a volatile
wandering
soul.
lost soul. Yeah.
So, Tai, your thing of refusing things coming on the silver platter, you were the only one that I checked right now. Your saboteur is actually another presence in you that is preventing you and having huge fears, actually. So if you have a body sensations that every stepping out goes together with a kind of inner trembling or some body reactions, yeah, it indicates the presence of another soul in your body that is so afraid that its energy takes over and you think you are afraid, yeah, where actually overall your energy wouldn't indicate that you are particularly afraid of public speaking. But if you would be given a mic and a topic to speak about, there's someone else that grabs you from inside and just makes you run away, hide under the blanket, and come out when it's all over. Yeah. So it's really, it's not a mainstream. It's not everyone, and there are particular conditions how this happens. But it's important to know if there's an extra soul, and a couple of you know what we're talking about, and how life is much more different when we remove those extra souls and how they would prefer things to be. So your incapacity of acting on projects that are handed to you, it would be the original expression of you would be to accept it, but because you have a terrified extra soul, it's a passenger, who freaks out for you, and you identify yourself with it. You think it's something dramatic will happen, and it's difficult to overcome because depending on where it sits in your body, it can really have a huge power over your body. Yeah. So that's to remember and take into consideration for you, Tai.
Mm-hmm.
Another possibility, negative aliens, also not mainstream.
Yeah, negative aliens.
Not mainstream.
This
but
is.
It's there.
It's kind of, that's maybe we should have spoken last about this one, but this is, when all the earthly powers are not enough to disturb someone, well, then the negative aliens come in, which are, without trying to sound kind of scary, but this is all about energy. So everybody is here kind of fighting to get the energy. Like we cultivate plants and animals in order to make them into the food and to kind of eat that energy. So there are other beings in all the galaxies that are actually kind of harvesting energy out of what the Earth produces.
Well, it's the same. Imagine just one little example. Same what we're doing to the animals, how we're using animals to raise them and then to eat them. Well, the same thing is done to us without that we realize exactly how. So there's a lot of things going on in the invisible realm, and we'll not go too much in the detail, but it exists, and we're regularly confronting these kind of interferences. So for as far as your questions raised here and now, nobody had this particular interference.
Mm-hmm.
So good. that's a good
but
news.
This one is interesting, especially with people who work with the energies of angels, the false light, false angels. So this is the masquerading energy behind what we call Archangel Michael, angel this, angel that, and call them in. And if we don't really know which energy we are calling in when we say Archangel Michael or when we call certain families of angels, this has been all already kind of falsified, pre-mapped to other other reservoirs of the energy. So, for example, if you're calling Archangel, I don't know, Raphael, this is already mapped into somebody else taking advantage of that tank of energy.
So it could be a heart and mind shattering experience to understand that we have believed in something that's not really authentic. But
yeah, good example of this is actually Dion, not Dion Fortune. What's the name of the angel lady?
Doreen Virtue.
Doreen Virtue. If you remember, she had made so many cards that deal with angels, archangels, wrote books and all that. And then at one point, she had understood that most of those signs are actually corrupted. So whenever we call our attention to that known name of an angel, it is actually hijacked and taken somewhere else. So she completely kind of detached herself from all of her previous teachings. And of course, a lot of people got seriously pissed about that and offended.
Yeah, but it's like same thing with the moon. You know, we're defending angels as if it was something that we are very sure about and we have invented and personally encountered. Well, actually, what do we know? If you really think, what do you know personally about angels and what is the quality of authenticity in that connection? It's again your own personal authentic experience that validates their existence or not. And this Lisa genius, they're like good-looking doormen at a really bad nightclub. Yes, most of the time that's exactly what it is. So we have to realize, and how do you know you're dealing with the right energy? Well, it's our frequency that will determine what kind of energy has access to us. And
the only way you know is that you really know you have developed complete connection with that being through long work with that energy. So if this is you ask about Buddha or Jesus, or if it's Archangel Michael, fine. But if you have worked and you have established your own connection that you know for sure goes there because you embody this in your body set of the frequencies that you know is a signature of that receiver, then you can send it there. This is your own experience and your own connection to that receiver. But if it's only your mind saying Archangel Michael, that's not enough. It's not.
Yeah, it's super mapped to something else, you know. You know how some pirates on YouTube do? They take, for example, a famous video that or a famous movie and pretend that it's a movie that you want to watch. Let's say Doctor Strange, full movie on YouTube, and you see, okay, there's a 1 hour 50. It could be the right thing. So you see, the title is Doctor Strange, the title picture is Doctor Strange, and the length of movie could be good. You click on it, and there's some crap going on behind it. Yeah, that's a little bit how it works with the names of established names. So very, very careful there.
Even better if you had a bank that you kind of want to log on, and somebody made a fake website that. You know that
interface. It's a phishing.
It says this is your bank.
It's a
give me your
principle,
So you log in, you give your data, and there you go. Your energy flows right out of you. It's the same thing.
Yeah. So Anna, big question for you to think about, because unfortunately, I have to announce that part of your sabotage comes from this, that. You have to recheck your connection with the angels and remap it to something that's really, really authentically yours, because there is someone eating that food through you. Believe it or not, there is and you say after dark, before going to sleep. Yeah. So, just imagine what kind of creatures are active at that hour. It's not like you would overeat the breakfast, or first thing in the morning. So at that hour, you're overeating. That means you're taking the energy when you don't need it, because it's not for you. That energy goes to someone, maybe you're connected to some angel that you pray in the evening or something. So there is a weird loop established between your overeating and someone that you are relating to or calling in. So we have to examine really slowly, one by one, how are you calling in the angels. And it's not for no reason that you have one above your head, that you do have a connection with angels, but someone knowing your weakness for and your sensitivity for angels has put a dark one in the middle of everyone else, hoping on your non-discernment. So that's again, and it's okay, it's okay every now and then to wipe out everything we believed in. Okay, we put a zero and we build again. It's not healthy to keep believing in one thing forever, because then that can be really corrupted. If you're volatile,
it becomes superficial.
Yeah, if you're volatile and kind of versatile and rebuilding your what you believe in every now and then, it's much more difficult to interfere with that than if you have something that you believe in, so anyone can come and pretend to be that. So that's one thing to examine.
Okay, I just wanted to add something I brought from the studio when we were talking about aliens maybe interfering. Once I did this interesting workshop where I was doing like touching. We were all touching our faces and making our faces without looking, with our eyes closed. We were making out of clay ourselves without looking. And everybody was so surprised when they saw what they have made. But I brought to show you what came up from my hands as myself.
Oh.
Wow.
Do you see this?
Yes.
Alien,
Well, you see, this is quite revealing, and the more, that means you have really showed yourself a huge message there. So take that message seriously and explore, because those aliens, they dress up in angels because they use our little ignorance, to be able to do so. That we love those realms and exploring them, but we do really know so many things that are possible because of our little ignorance here and there, and our really incapacity to check things.
That's actually the point, that we have lost the ability to really check with ourselves, is this real or not? And this is the priority number one, to re-establish our own sensitivity and our own connection to the higher source, where we don't depend on somebody out of us telling this is right or wrong. You feel it on your own energy, body, and discernment, and you understand, okay, this is real. I don't have to ask anyone. We have lost that.
Yeah, so what to do with it, we'll tell you a little bit in a private setting what you can do with it. But it's really kind of re-establishing, breaking down everything there is and reconnecting, but in a different terms, which are based on authentic feeling and experience.
It's a little bit like plugging out your house from the electricity, turning off all, cleaning, putting new upgraded appliances, and then turning back the electricity on. So it's really kind of getting rid of all that was your ancient connection to some, like maybe Orthodox saints or whatever you used to do before that didn't serve you. And now replugging with your current capability of discernment.
But the best is to really use help from someone you trust and specialist, because actually it's very easy to see from the side what is what, and plus that frequency that you are interacting with invisible beings, the astral beings tend to provoke a physical reaction, so you feel shivers or trembling or kind of expansion or something. They make you feel as there is a presence. But the best way you can check your energy after the encounter or after the prayer, do you feel more energized, more peaceful, more joyful, or more enthusiastic? If you feel like you have wings after an encounter with an angel, that you can fly off, everything's possible, you have this huge inspiration, that means you have encountered a really divine energy, because it adds to yours. If after the encounter you feel like sleepy or a little bit sad or nothing special, that means, well, someone just took your energy that you, well, it didn't take, you gave, basically you gave it.
So the question is, was your connection, did the connection go through or it didn't, or it went through to some other phone number? And this is similar.
Yeah, you're
Hannah
calling.
asked, what about calling Jesus or Buddha energy? It's very similar.
Yeah, you're calling Jesus, but someone else picks up, you know?
Who calls in is like negative, church Jesus, somebody who is bleeding on the cross or whatever. So that's the problem with calling Jesus, is that it is so misunderstood what the actual Jesus did, that this is scrambled. We almost don't have the possibility to connect to what Jesus is really, and Buddha energy doesn't exist. Buddha is every person who have attained Buddhahood. So who are you actually calling? Are you really calling Buddha of yourself being in Buddhic state? If you're able to connect to yourself in the Buddhic state, then this is right. But if you're calling some sort of Buddha outside of you, who sat under some tree, it means nothing to you. He attained Buddhahood, but you didn't. So calling a person, he had his own meaning, ways to do that. But you have to find your own way to attain Buddhahood. So,
well, after so many years, we have come to a very simple conclusion that most of these encounters are psychological. Most of guides are psychological. It's your way of dealing with the dark twin, so that when you decide, okay, I want to surf, I want to go to the ocean, dark twin is like, no, but you're afraid. You might hurt yourself. The other girl split her head open while trying to learn to surf. So he'll have this nagging voice. So then your soul invents a higher connection, because you wouldn't question guidance coming from an angel and you would act upon it. So it's a way to little bit go around the dark twin. It's good until you realize that actually what you have to do is wrap your mind around your 3 triggers, get them out, and work on it until you get the energy to actually act upon anything you think about, good or bad, and you can experience life fully, and not only what your dark twin allows you to do.
That's a good point, actually. Stop until this gets a little assimilated, because this is the point. This is the practical reason why we are talking even about that. You weed out these couple of things that have been with you for all your life, and you can breathe.
So, and the ones coming from a dream, we also have to differentiate what kind of dream. Is it a subconscious playing out? Is it, again, very, very tricky and slippery, also the dream world. But, just understand that you can never get it really wrong. You can go for the worst possible for you experience, which will anyways bounce back the moment that you realize that, you've been possessed, abused, going the wrong way, believing the wrong thing. But the moment you realize and you take your thing in hand, it doesn't matter. Everything will bring you to the point where you realize, okay, I do not need anything. I don't even need a crystal. I don't really, as I stand, I am enough. It's good. We can have angels and presences and pictures and crystals because we like them. It's fun. It's a company. But you do not rely or depend on any other energy, presence, or circumstance for your well-being and inner journey. Yeah.
Another note about the dream, you know, like there are two ways to deal with
Go on.
dreams. And it is, one is that you are a victim of your dreams, but the other one is that the dream is the research lab for you to actually connect to the realms where the physical laws don't apply. So this is what we actually want to do, is to consciously enter the dreams and to actually do the useful work in the dreams where you are temporarily detached from gravity, not being able to travel and so forth.
Okay, let's go on.
Okay.
We have only 20 minutes left.
Okay. We move on.
We move on. We go to see our lower astral entities. Those are entities that are agglomeration of people's fears, dreams, fantasies, evil kind of non-resolved perversions and all kind of things that agglomerate together and form entities that also need to exist, and because they are not able to generate their own energy, they're looking for energy where? Well, in humans, because we're the only batteries producing energy. So there's a whole population of these kind of astral beings that are looking for an easy food, usually matching and standing behind our fears. Yeah, because fear is the only emotion that brings us enough down so that they can even latch to us. If we would be completely fearless, there's absolutely no way.
There's no connection. They
There's
cannot
no connection
touch us.
to that realm. It's impossible.
And good illustration of those lower astral entities is in the movie No Solar. Ty probably knows. What is the translation of the movie in... it's Our Home, I think. I don't know if you saw that movie. It's a Brazilian movie
I don't know,
about...
let's go on.
you can see them there.
So this lower astral entity is using, it just wants energy. That's it. It doesn't have any agenda on your plan. It just wants, and this is the one using your I wanted to do and I didn't energy. Yeah, because that little guilt that you feel about not being able to act upon your plans provokes that frequency that is accessible to them, and they feed upon it. So that goes for Claudia, for Hannah, but it's not your main problem. For Zane, actually not being able to say things or to speak up is attached to one of these guys, and it's food. It's food. So for Zane, we will need to weed out this connection where, she said that her heart is jumping out and, huge emotions are happening somewhere where it's just very easy, it shouldn't be any body reactions. But this energy generated of frustration, doubt, and this mix is actually what these astral entities are using to get a bit of, it's their snack. So it's good to have these things off because we don't need to go on with them.
Yeah.
So then I have a little word. Some of you had unresolved past life aspects masquerading as your inner saboteurs. So it goes for Sylvia.
Here they are.
Sylvia, your over seriousness, besides that it's a major feature of Scorpios, it also is tied to unresolved past life aspect, which might have had a role of being very, very kind of responsible. When you are a big leader of a country or kind of leader of a group, you feel responsible for every single member. And you have to make sure the sun goes up on time, the sun goes down on time, like the whole world is upon your shoulders.
You're responsible to putting the sun up and putting it down.
And
without you, it won't do it.
Yeah, if you don't wake up on time, the world will stay dark.
Yeah.
So this kind of responsibility usually comes with huge past life where that was a main feature. If every day of a life you feel over-responsible for things, then after you finish that lifetime, this feeling is still there. And the panic, what if you fail? Yeah? And how could you be playful? So for you, out of all the map, out of all the picture, this aspect is the one that's not allowing you to play because it's, it has to be responsible. Although you have created the setting in your lifetime, this now, that you don't even have children to be responsible for. So that's amazing thing. And that is a proof that really you have given yourself a break and permission to be playful in this lifetime, but you're unable to act upon it because of this over responsible past
You
life
have to be
aspect.
super serious.
So yeah, you have to take care of weeding that out, and you'll see it will be a different feeling. Someone else had the past life aspect. Oh my god, I try to remember everybody, but okay, we'll get to that. Eva, your escaping reality one. So it's a father's overlay, yeah. Father's overlay that your inner masculine hasn't grown up. Your inner masculine is still a kid and didn't grow up to take responsibility because the feminine was too much there, like too much. And well, in a couple of days we will see exactly what it is. So during the course we will address every bit of it. So that is a place where you can grow up by growing up your masculine. So for you it comes from your father's overlay.
We'll explore for each of you who's going to be in course each one of those, and we will weed them out.
And so what else?
We have this little guy under the mushroom.
Yeah. Now I remember. Miriam, you with your criticizing, or how did you call that? Your sabotage of being. I knew. Yes, I told
Not
you.
opening the heart. Yeah.
That one. It comes from unresolved past life aspect. So you have been in some sort of dominant position, like a sage or a seer that understands, but more than a shaman, something like that, yeah? That could actually understand how things work, and you were a little bit, skeptic of people's ignorance and how they don't see the consequence of their own acts. So you feel triggered every time you see irresponsible action that has a bad consequences for the future. So this past life aspect holds this view of, not being compassionate because you actually understand that it's a consequence of past misdeeds, yeah. So if you ever want to work on that, this is where you look for it. Unresolved past life personality. Voila. And Uwe, your sabotage comes in the folder of alter ego. So this is where it's held, and this is where you can uproot it. So actually dissolving the alter egos, it takes exactly 3 minutes. It's extremely and amazingly efficient because in 3 minutes, watch in hand, you get rid of lifetimes of accumulated emotions if you do it in the right way. So it's there. It's just accumulation of one kind of emotion that amplifies and takes over whenever you are ready to do the best thing for yourself. Well, this helplessness alter ego or something like this comes, and kind of cools you off from what you were about to do. Alter ego reintegration is our ultimate shortcut. We're always looking for efficiency. Well, that one is, and we're slowly kind of implementing it and seeing the results. For very dense people, it can throw off their couple of days because of this huge shift. But for aware people, it's really a liberation. So alter ego is a very good place to look for the solution of all these energies.
Yeah. Especially because it ties to the beliefs. So you mentioned yourself that it ties into your compulsive thinking. So that's the signature of alter egos as well.
So to resolve what you need to do, we are always looking for this strongest attraction. Where is the strongest energy out of all the map? Where for your particular expression is the strongest attraction?
Yeah, that's where we
That's
start.
how we determine, actually.
Gail asking if there is a way to protect ourselves from astral entities while we are sleeping.
Yeah, it's a big deal again.
Yeah.
Depends also on environment, how clean is environment where we sleep, and
pretty much before
hotel
sleeping
rooms, we know all about it. And
we have to make a special energetic cocoon in which we are going to sleep every day before going to sleep, literally creating a cocoon around yourself. If you're sleeping in a building or in a hotel or somewhere where you're close to other people's fields, super important to actually make a functioning sleeping cocoon where you will be protected from anything that comes outside. I think we'll have this in our emergency toolkit, making of the cocoon.
Yeah. So I really care of giving everyone your where to look for your resolution.
Yeah.
And so Hannah, you're also very timely on our course because your saboteur is holding all the women hand in hand, the family lineage. So these fears of doing things. Imagine women from 500 years ago till now trying to surf. Yeah, a woman. I mean, it's been like 5 minutes that women even have access to these things. Yeah. So those who were very strongly in the past afraid of new things, or actually actively feeling the impossibility of anything but kids and kitchen. Well, this is a very strong energy blocking women from just going for their wildest dreams. But this is when it's possible, and maybe in your lineage that impossibility was very, very strong. So they're all sitting in line and they would all love to surf, but they're so afraid, because nobody understands the ocean energy. So you have somehow taken a task to liberate them and make them free from this impossibility of things that now are suddenly available. Including all sorts of relationships. A relationship for a month, for example, it was not even possible in wildest dreams for any woman before our generation. So imagine how much there is of these, especially women's stuckness and non-freedom and non-being able. So you're there to transmute it for them. And and you can transmute that by actually actively taking all the grandmas, the whole string of grandmas on the surfboard.
We'll do it in the course. Literally, we'll do it in the course for each one of you. So we will take these alter egos and unresolved past lives, and we will dissolve them.
So the way it works, the way that sabotage expresses through the field of grandmas, it's that there's such a non-resolved energy that it overpowers your willingness. It's just a scale, There's more energy in being afraid than being willing. That's it. So we'll empty that. And then Anne, where were you? You have this one specific that we haven't talked about yet, which is a hologram.
Okay, here.
So hologram, also not everybody has it.
Yeah, these are very advanced implants that are really, all the other disturbances that we talked about so far are present there all the time, so we can find them wherever we scan. With holograms, it's almost like a computer virus. You don't see it at all. It's not there until you're about to do something, and then it gets triggered. So it has to be caught really when we are looking, when we are actively looking for it, and when you're actually triggering it. Otherwise, it fades into the background and it is not active. So we have to catch it at the session where we're trying to remove it.
We have to catch it at work, hand in the bag, you know.
So we need to find out what triggers it in you, to trigger it at the session, and then to clear it.
I'll give you one example of possible holograms, which is, it's a recent thing. I don't think it even existed before. But there are a lot of change makers that have come to Earth right now. And for example, if your task is to create a divine union, and these two people can really awaken hundreds by raising the frequency.
Thousands, yeah?
Yeah. So the anti-evolutionary forces, of course, they remote view and they see who is the troublemaker.
Potential troublemaker, yeah? So on that history line.
So it's very vicious because they don't have a possibility to interfere directly, like to make you die on the spot. But they can create a sort of electric fence around your energy, that whenever you'll get close to your divine counterpart, your divine other
the
person,
alarm goes off.
The alarm goes off, and this electric fence, this hologram
comes into the action.
Comes into the action and creates some impossibilities, like you can't be in the same country, or you get into massive fight, or you have to leave, or you have to sacrifice something. So all sorts of troubles start happening to, you know, dissuade you from this union. So this is a like divine couple hologram that I have seen more than once. Yeah, with Matt Diamond, Adjustment Bureau. Exactly. Yes,
Adjustment Bureau.
That's the one. That's the one.
Well,
Adjustment
there you go.
Bureau.
Yeah, that's very much.
You see the adjusters? Yes, this is exactly that. Adjusting, but not for the person's highest good. Really, only the free will and a certain procedure can demagnetize these, because they are completely invisible. Check what you want, how you want. They are not there. They're physically not there. They're like holograms that only pop out when the situation matches what needs to be prevented, like that.
Yeah.
So Anna, that's your thing, and of course we couldn't see it before because it's not there when you're not trying to change the world, and whenever you want to start doing it, well,
that's when they pop on. Yeah. So it's literally invisible obstacles on specific situations that are usually connected to your best gifts. So you are actually starting your best gifts, and they pop into action to dissuade you.
Yeah. So, well, we don't have time for implants. I think we have talked about it already. But all sorts of parasitic fields, so regular cleanse at least once a month with holy water or running water, salt, gold soap, charcoal, Epsom salt bath. Cleansing your energy field once a month gets rid of, these minor... mosquito type energy suckers. Sorry, Lisa, for mosquitoes.
We don't want to offend your favorite living beings.
But like we do what we can, because we also need our energy. So
yeah, we also need our blood.
So that's what it is. Yeah. The main thing that we wanted to say, the 2 ways of...
2 ways how we can go about
how to conduct
dealing with these
journey.
things. Miriam, don't kill mosquitoes. We will report it to Lisa.
Now. Do it discreetly.
You have to negotiate with them to leave, yeah? So, okay. 2 major ways that we can go about it. One is the path of a mystic, and another one is path of a person who lives in everyday environment, which is probably all of us. Path of a mystic is easy. They go sit in a cave or in the mountains, and they constantly raise their energy to actually get out of this system. So I on purpose posted that video. We posted the video, Stop It. yesterday
if
in our
anyone
group.
had chance to see it.
It's
hilarious.
the doctor that just says to his patients, okay, I have a universal cure for anything that you come up with. And it's going to be 2 words. Okay, are you ready? Stop it! And she's like, what? Yeah, just stop it. Don't do it. And she's like, but I don't like this. What do you mean stop it? I can't stop. Anyway, the point is the mystics who don't have to be in this world, they just stop it. They go into the cave and they keep raising their energy until automatically they're so high vibrating that all of these lower aspects get flushed out of their system.
Fall apart, run away.
They cannot stay in
disintegrate.
the high vibration. And it's possible to do it in this world as well, but it is really, it has to be path of purity, and you will need to actually meet a lot of your triggers. Another way, the way that we have chosen to go, is to meet all of these. And we meet all of them and then release them. Then we have actually learned what's possible to be a disturbance, and we learn how to help others by actually then explaining, like we do now, to others what's there and how it can be taken out of the system. And this way is working, that we actually meet them, we own them, and then we release them consciously, but in big groups, not really picking one by one hair that it's never ending.
Yeah, so those therapies that don't work are actually looking to, they are looking for the least efficient way to release these. We do need to release them, but we're looking for the most impactful ones. And that's important to choose, because wherever you put a lot of energy in any kind of therapy, practice, whatever, they need to produce results. If they don't work, don't do.
Yeah.
If nothing gives
and
you results,
and quick.
Out.
I mean, we don't want results in 10 years. You know, we don't have that time. We want results like in a maximum a week or like 3 days.
Anything has to work in 21 days. If in 21 days it hasn't worked,
it doesn't work.
Cross it out and that's it.
But even better, that it works today. That's actually what we are after. The methods that we are using, they tend to work the same day. They work now. We don't have time to wait for them to work.
How many of non-efficient we had to explore before we get to the one that works? And then, you know, it's an experiential path, and you need to understand that to get to express your gift, you'll have to meet your resistance. The more willing you are to meet your resistance, to shake hands with your dark twin, the more kind of elements will come to your help, even without calling any Buddha or any entity. You have a power to do it all. It's only that sometimes those interferences are so strong that we can't even summon enough of willpower to start somewhere. And that's the problem.
Well, that's why we need a little help from outside
to clear the ground, so that we are able to even put our foot somewhere and start. So we have enough of willpower to do the next step. Yeah. And
one problem that we encounter is that people who want to come and work with these things, they get dissuaded the first moment that they feel discomfort. And we have to understand, you know, preference, whether something is comfortable and non-comfortable, is already attachment. So we need to be kind of willing to go through also uncomfortable situations and to understand that this was only my preference, that I chose this to be uncomfortable, and I know it firsthand how many times we went through something that was super, super, super triggering, but by the evening we were able to laugh about it. So very important.
Drilling the holes one.
Gurdjieff's example is that it's, you know, following one path versus, you know, just kind of picking the flowers of 1,000 different spiritual paths and never getting anywhere. Picking one spiritual path and staying with it until you see the results is like drilling one hole 1,000 meters until you get to the water, as opposed to drilling 1,000 holes 1 meter each and never getting the actual results. So if you choose the path, or if you choose the spiritual guide, well, then it means I follow this guide through pleasant and unpleasant things. And this new age, or how we refer to it, new cage movement, is actually really popularizing, trying all these different things, but when it starts hurting, it's not resonating with me. So, you know, what do we know what resonates with us? What resonates with us is if we have results at the end, even if it's unpleasant at the time. So that's
So
important point.
With this picture, with our little complex picture in mind, really consider the resonating or non-resonating thing.
This is who says if it resonates.
And
All of these guys.
Double check with what
Does
your
it resonate
reality
with me?
says about it.
No. Don't do it. You don't have enough money. You don't have enough time. Well, here is your choir that says if it resonates or not. All of these.
So, but you always have a choice to double check with your reality, match with signs, and don't always trust only what you feel, but cross-reference it with something else that you trust in. Yeah. If in 3 ways you get the confirmation for the path to unfold, follow it. Otherwise, wherever you step, you will anyway get to experience, and as long as you do it joyfully, even the worst thing is better than doing nothing. So voila.